Hello and welcome to Marco's Marvel Monday Movie News. I'm Marvel Movie Fan from May 11, 2015. Just like before, you have the option to go to the menu and choose a story, or you can go to the next story at almost any time by clicking on the annotations. Just letting you know, since this news is current, it might contain spoilers and we will do our best to notify you. For our top story, Mother's Day was yesterday and we at Marvel Movie Fan would like to say Happy Mother's Day to all the hardworking mothers out there. Deadpool also shares his appreciation. For our top Marvel news story, the box office figures are out from May 1st to the 3rd. To no surprise, Marvel's Avengers Age of Ultron took the #1 spot. Age of Ultron opened in North America with $191.3 million. This is the second biggest opening in North American history. Some people say that it would have earned more money if it were not for the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship match that took place on May 2nd. But because it did so well in the opening weekend and all over the world, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is now the highest grossing franchise in the world. With the number of titles coming out in the future, it seems like it will be a while before it takes second place. According to the rumors going around, Spider-Man is now down to 2 actors and 5 directors. The 2 actors are Asa Butterfield and Tom Holland. This information came from Devin Faraci's Twitter page. Deadline is a source that states the 5 directors are Jonathan Levine, Ted Melfi, Jason Moore, Jared Hess, John Francis Daly, and Jonathan M. Goldstein. This article states that there is a rumor that each Spider-Man film will be in a different year in high school. Marvel.com interviewed some of the comic book creators at Marvel about the Avengers Age of Ultron movie. Seeing some of the creators' thoughts and opinions is worth the read. Some state that it was good to see their ideas transferred onto the big screen. Others state that they wish they thought of a certain idea they saw in the movie when they made the comic. It is a very interesting article. Joss Whedon and Paul Bettany were interviewed by Empire Magazine. These interviews are 2 separate interviews. Whedon talks about Black Widow's relationship with Banner, Quicksilver's role, and many other points of the movie. In this interview, we get to hear a post promoting Whedon share his deeper thoughts. The interview with Bettany is shorter and he talks about playing the role of Vision. These interviews can be heard on SoundCloud. Joss Whedon and Kevin Feige had an interview with Rolling Stone. In the interview, they argued against comic book movies destroying Hollywood. They bring up many good points which makes this article worth reading. On the Marvel Studios subreddit site, Feige and Whedon's thoughts are better expressed on some of the questions that many people have. This page is like a frequently asked question list heavily based on Age of Ultron. In their interview with Marvel Entertainment, Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans talk about how their characters fit into modern day Earth. They also talk about the pronunciation of Mjolnir, which Hemsworth's pronunciation seems similar to the Dictionary.com pronunciation. As always, when they are together, it is an entertaining interview. In a quick interview with Cinema Blend, Aaron Taylor Johnson talks about his time working with Marvel and how he is hoping for a loophole to bring him back. This article is very short. There's a new poster for the Ant-Man movie. In this poster we can see all the main characters. Also on the top it states, "From the studio that brought you Guardians of the Galaxy." This may help show the tone for the movie. Moving to Captain America Civil War, Humberto Gonzalez shared leaked promotional art for Civil War. These images include Iron Man, Captain America, and Captain America and Iron Man fighting. Marvel shared that they will be filming Civil War in Germany, Puerto Rico, and Iceland. This film's production is in Atlanta, Georgia. Marvel also shared that Chris Evans as Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, Sebastian Stan as Winter Soldier, Anthony Mackie as Falcon, Paul Bettany as The Vision, Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, Don Cheadle as War Machine, Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, Emily Van Camp as Agent 13, Frank Grillo as Crossbones, William Hurt as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, Daniel Bruhl most likely as Baron Zemo, and Martin Freeman from the Hobbit trilogy as an unknown character will be in this movie. Writers Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, as well as directors Anthony and Joe Russo, will return to do another Captain America movie. The people who have not been listed to return are Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts, Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, Stellan Skarsgård as Eric Selvig, Clark Gregg as Phil Coulson, Colby Smulders as Maria Hill, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne from Ant-Man, and Liv Tyler, who has been gone since Incredible Hulk like Thunderbolt Ross mentioned above. There's a possibility that this is not a complete list because we do not see any information on a certain web slinger. This movie is going to take place right after Age of Ultron, with Captain America leading the new team of Avengers. The same writers who are working on Civil War will also be working on Infinity War. Marvel confirmed that both Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely will write the screenplay for both parts of the next Avengers movies. There's good news for the fans that like watching the MCU on the small screen. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is renewed for a third season. Even though the ratings have dropped during the second season, ABC and Marvel are still confident that the show will do well. ABC also gave the green light for Agent Carter Season 2. This is great news for many fans. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will have its season finale tomorrow. This will be a two-part episode titled SOS Part 1 and 2. Both parts will air as a 2-hour season finale starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. Clark Gregg was interviewed by comicbook.com. Gregg talked about the possibility of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tying into Civil War. He talks about the similarities to the Civil War comic storyline to the current episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is a short but interesting read. IGN has put together a segment called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's All Connected. This is where Jeff Loeb shortly speaks with some of the cast members of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He spoke with Clark Gregg about Skye's character growth, Ming-Na Wen about the women in the MCU who help connect the Marvel movies to the TV shows, and Adrianne Palicki about Mockingbird. In the last video, Jeff Loeb talks by himself about Loki's scepter and how it's all connected. All these videos are short. Rosario Dawson will return as Claire Temple in Daredevil. The deal she made with Marvel is that she will be back in the second season of Daredevil and also join the other Netflix series. As of right now, she is the only clear person to connect Daredevil to the other Marvel shows on Netflix. A leaked email from Marvel CEO Ike Perlmutter came to the surface. In this email, Perlmutter highlights some of the female lead superhero movies that did horribly in the box office. This has become a big deal because it comes off as being sexist. Since the email itself did not have any context, it could have been sexist or simply just highlighting the female superhero flops. Oscar Isaac talked to Entertainment Tonight about his many recent roles. He briefly states that he just started filming X-Men. He then goes on to talk about his other movies. Bryan Singer shared more images on his Instagram account. He shared Havoc and Cyclops' parents. This shows for the first time in an X-Men movie that the Summer Brothers are related. The next image he posted is of James McAvoy getting his head shaved to resemble his character Professor X. This movie will have another first by showing a young, bald Professor X. TJ Miller was on Conan. This interview shows how well Miller is able to obviously avoid answering questions and still have everyone enjoy everything he has to say. This is a fun interview with unexpected answers. For our last story, the cast of Fantastic Four were interviewed by MTV. In this interview, they talked about the negativity of the movie before the first trailer came out. They also talked about their feelings of the movie during the early days of production, and if they have watched any of the previous movies as references. This interview is under 3 minutes. Well, that's our news for this week. Like usual, there are more stories in the links below that we didn't mention due to them not having an effect on the movies or they're just speculations. These stories include the Marvel Art Gallery, Everyday Life in the MCU, a summary of the MCU, why Spider-Man should be on TV, the camera is being used in Infinity War, speculation on Venom in the MCU, Japan finally getting an Age of Ultron trailer, possible cancellation of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spin-off, Jeremy Renner and the hot water he has been in, and Tom Hardy wanting to be the Punisher in the MCU. For more information on any of these news topics, click on the links in the description below. Also, please leave a comment if you have any questions or information that I may have left out. You can also tweet me at MarvelMovieFan0. Subtitles are available in English and sometimes in terribly translated Spanish. If you haven't, please subscribe to this channel and like this video. If you dislike this video, please let me know why. Thank you all for watching, bye!